Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome back to Big Bud Farm, and today we are going to be doing some logging. So we're driving alongside our forested area here that we created a little while ago, and we're going to be switching out our logging trailer. So first things first, let's just call in here at the logging plant and let's pick up our existing trailer, which is the Belts trailer with the log claw. We're going to replace that with the Fleagle Timber Runner because it is a little bit bigger and allows us to hold more logs. And speaking of logging, got a little bit of a surprise this morning. Logged in to just pick up a couple of the mods that I didn't get a chance to download last night, and Emerald Valley logging was available on the mod hub really early this morning. So I've already done a map tour that is now available on the channel, so do check that out if you haven't done already. I will link it in the description for you below. And we also have some other new mods as well. We have a new Lemken Cedar as part of the giant Lemken pack that has been slowly being added to over the last couple of months. We also have a couple of other new things as well. I can show you some of them actually because I've got some of them installed. Let's see. We want one of these floodlight trailers, so let's just grab one of those. We have this, the DSC 180 from Weber. This is a silage compactor. This is pretty funky and comes available with lighting options as well. Haven't tried that yet, but looking forward to giving that a go. We also have an update for Mustang Valley, which I haven't installed yet because I'm just a little wary, having put 150 hours into this map already. It was potentially, cause an issue. It doesn't say that it needs a restart, but it just says that it fixes the issue with the pig feed. But I'm going to see if I've got a friend out there who's got a small file on the original version of Mustang that isn't very far progressed, and just see if it makes any changes to the version 1. Because, like I say, the last thing I want to do is cause a problem with this farm here by installing the update. We also have an update for Losberg, although I'm not entirely sure exactly what has been updated because the changelog is completely empty. Even the description is gone of the map. It just says a map for agriculture or something along those lines, and that's pretty much it. So I have no idea what exactly has been updated on Losberg, but it is updated nonetheless. I'm trying to think what else went live today as well. I'm sure I'm missing something, but yeah, a couple of extra mods that I didn't get yesterday. I went to install those and found Emerald Valley logging, and then once I recorded my tour and went to get the new ones, the Lemken Cedar had been added as well. So there's a few out there. Go check them out, and let me know what you think of them in the comments below. Alright, so there we go. We have a lighting trailer over here as well, which we may well need, for late night logging. I'll park that here next to our pressure washer for now. That's close enough, that'll do. So let's just connect the truck up to the timber runner. There we go. And we'll jump out and let's get into our Scorpion. Let's bring this bad boy out to play. So I'm trying to figure out where to start, and I think we're going to start about halfway down where we've got that little sort of wider staging area. I think that'll be a nice little place to start. Just in here, there we go. So we're going to attack these trees here first on the left hand side. Now at the back there are a couple of trees that are still pretty small, because they were the last ones to be placed. So you can see we've got these trees here at the back that are significantly shorter than the ones next to them, and same again on this line here. We have a few small trees here. But we're not going to be attacking those. We're mainly going to be attacking the ones on this left-hand side here. And we're going to do a little bit of actual logging itself, and we'll also do some wood chipping as well at some point to add some extra wood chips to our farm. We've had a couple of great demands for wood chips already, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if we get another one at some point in the not too distant future. Let's bring our crane around. There we go. So what I like to do when I do my logging is I like to create little piles of logs, and then once I've done that, then bring a truck over and start loading those up. So let's get started straight away. I want to have 6-meter long logs, because I found that using that Flegel timber runner you can get double stacks of 6-meter logs really comfortably. So a little pivot like that, and create our little lumber pile just here. Hopefully we can get a relatively neatly stacked pile. And what I'll also be doing is some of those really small pieces, I'll be moving those to the side so that we can perhaps chip those. And we'll just keep the larger pieces to sell. Go, and that one actually disappeared. But this is how I like to build my log piles. So I like to get a good half a dozen plus trees cut in the same spot, and then when the log pile gets a little bit too, start to look at maybe setting up a second pile, so that you don't end up with a big lag spike anytime you go near these piles of logs. But by keeping them relatively straight with each other, I mean they're not obviously perfect, but by keeping them relatively straight with each other like this, it does make them a little bit easier to pick up with a front loader as well. Or at least that's been my experience. Other people may have had different experiences. That is just the way it is with logging. Some people can try and recreate what they see someone else do and it works flawlessly. Other people can try and do something and it works in a completely different way. With the log physics as they are in the game, you can't always predict exactly what's going to happen, and sometimes a log that will go down absolutely flawlessly for one person will bounce horribly for another person and completely screw up your log pile. Try and get in and take this one down as well. So we're having to sort of try and drop these at a bit of an angle simply because of the way the tree is positioned. So this is probably going to be the last one that we drop in this place. And now we can run straight up there at those trees, so we can create a secondary log pile depending on how this one falls. Looking good so far. And now we can just keep dropping trees in the same spot by running straight up in a straight line all the way up here. Again, it doesn't always work out, depending on sometimes how the log falls, how the tree falls when you cut it. But you can generally, if you run in a straight line like this, you can generally just keep your pile relatively neat. And those pieces that are disappearing is because there isn't enough, really enough wood to be an actual log that you can sell. And I don't mind if we lose those thin pieces. They can be a real pain trying to load onto a trailer at times. So If they do disappear, it's not a major problem. You can see here what I mean about how sometimes a log that will fall at an angle can sometimes throw out your entire pile. See if we can just give that a little nudge. Try and straighten it up a touch. Not really. But it's a little bit flatter than it was, so it should be okay. So let's move forward a bit more. Grab the next tree. There we go. Pull the boom arm out. So you can see we're building quite a nice sort of relatively controlled log pile here. Yeah, they're relatively straightforward to pick up when they're all pointing in roughly the same direction, which is always an added bonus. Now, a great way to make some money with logging is if you have a pre-built forest, is to just hire a scorpion and just cut down trees as quickly and as efficiently as you can. Build a whole load of log piles, and if you lease it for just an hour, you can still cut down an awful lot of trees. And then when you get to 0.9 hours on your lease, you can return the scorpion, because if it hits 1.0, you get charged for a second full hour. And if that happens, you may as well just use it for a second. 1.9 hours on your vehicle life. But leasing one of these will cost you, I think, about 27 grand there or thereabouts for the hour, and then I think it's an extra 16 and a half, 17 grand, something like that, for every subsequent hour after that. But you can see, especially on the lower difficulties as well, where everything is worth a lot more, you can make a lot of money by cutting down trees very, very quickly and efficiently using a scorpion. So, for example, a great map for this would be Sosnovka, where you start with very little equipment and it's all very old. If you started on, say, hard, and you wanted to make some money to replace everything, well, you can't really make much money trading stuff in, because it's worth hardly anything at all. And even with a loan, you know, getting in some decent sized equipment is going to take almost all of your money on a single piece of equipment, a single tractor, let alone getting a brand new combine. So a great thing to do is to just lease a scorpion and attack the forest that's right next to the shop, right opposite the shop, and just cut down a load of logs. And then you can either lease a timber runner and a truck, or even a tractor and a dolly to pull the truck and sell the logs, or get a wood chipper, create a huge pile of wood chips, and then sell the wood chips. That's a great way to make quite a lot of money, quite quickly. Obviously, you'll make less on hard than you will on medium or easy, but you can still make quite a tidy sum, and depending on how quick and efficient you are with the scorpion, you can easily make a profit against the initial costs of leasing all of that equipment. Just as I say, be wary not to leave things switched on when you get out of them, because they will continue to rack up usage time on your lease. So when you've cut down some trees, the second you want to load up a wood chipper or a trailer, make sure that you turn all of the equipment that's not being used off before you get out of it. Otherwise you can end up with quite a hefty bill. Alright, so we've used up all of those trees just there, so what we're going to do now is build another logging pile. We're going to start again and do the same thing just here. So let's hook up onto this one here. Let's try and straighten up a little bit as well. There we go. Alright, so we have the start of our third little log pile just there. And again, let's get the scorpion in place. And in terms of log size, it's entirely up to you what to cut. I mean, I like 6 meter lengths, but I used to do 5 when I first started logging. I have done 8 in the past, but it limits how much you can actually cut down. I mean, you don't even have to use a scorpion at all. I mean, what a lot of people tend to do is just cut a tree down with a chainsaw, delimit, and then just load the entire tree onto a trailer, and just have these huge long trees just sticking out the back. Obviously, with a tight turning area like this, you know, trees of this length are not really practical to be hanging out the back of the trailer when you're trying to make tight turns. So that would not really be a feasible option for us in this small area here, but it is what some people like to do. Experiment when you do logging, you know, find something that works for you and that you're comfortable doing, and then stick with that for a while, and then, you know, don't be afraid to experiment, try other things. You know, just because one thing works really well for you doesn't mean that there's another method out there that won't work better. So don't be afraid to sort of play about with different things and see if you can come up with a different style. Oh, and there we go, we've had a log that's just bounced across and completely ruined our log pile. Let's see, can we actually spin that around a little bit with the head? There we go. So we kind of rescued that one there. We've got a little bit of space still that we can work with. The last tree that we need to cut down in this section just here. Yes, it is. So I'll drag this one over. And these are going to go at a slightly different angle. May even roll away a little bit as well. There we go. So we have a decent number of logs to get us started with. So I'm going to grab our logging trailer and grab our tractor and start loading up some logs. Okay, so we've got our truck lined up. Let's grab some logs. Now this fork is kind of designed, I think, for more than one log, so I don't know how effective it's going to be with just an individual. Let's see. Yeah, look, it's going to wobble all over the place. So let's see if we can actually grab a couple of different logs. Maybe that we need to get a different logging fork. The way I've always tended to do this is slightly more time consuming, but I tended to load the logs one at a time, just so that I've got a little bit more control over exactly where they end up. Again, everyone has their own different methods when it comes to actually loading a logging trailer as well. Some people swear by using a tractor with a front loader. Some people swear by using telehandlers or even wheel loaders. Me personally, you know, this is the method that I prefer, and yeah, this logging claw is too big for what I want to do, so I'm going to drop these and then I'm going to go and replace this with a different logging claw, so I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so this is my claw of choice. This is the BioBelts logging claw. It costs around $1,900, so it's actually considerably cheaper than the one we just used as well. But the thing I like about this one is because it really closes up quite a lot. You can pick up individual logs quite comfortably, and on the thinner logs you can actually still pick up 2 as well. But because of the way I like to load these trailers, and the fact that I'm loading 2 stacks of 6, means I need a little bit more finesse and a little bit more control. And when you're trying to load multiple logs, sometimes you lose that because you can't control exactly where they get dropped. So it makes it awkward to actually load your trailer. But I'm so glad that we have this vehicle. It's like a skid steer, but with the normal front loader forks, it actually has a longer reach than a skid steer would. So it allows us to actually get into those some of those higher up places that we just couldn't with a skid steer, or at least not without some kind of ramp. So what I like to do as well when I build my base layers is build them up little bit by little bit. So I'll put a few logs down, I'll create and then once I've done that, I'll strap those down and then start dropping logs on top to try and stop things from bouncing around. In other situations, depending again on the type of logs that I'm loading and how thick they are, sometimes I will undo the straps and just let them move each other around a little bit. But for the base layer, I generally tend to try and like a nice stable base. And I like to try and get as close up against the against that end grate as possible as well, so that we've got as much room as we can possibly get for the second stack that'll be behind this one. So as you can see, this is definitely a little bit more time consuming doing it this way, one log at a time, but as I say, it does allow you to be that little bit more precise, which is important, I think, when you're trying to double stack your logs like this, and space is at a premium. There we go. So we have our initial base layer. Now it will be tight, but we will have the option of putting extra logs on the back as well. That space. They will hang out the back just a little bit, but it won't be too bad. You know, if we drop one in here as an example. I think also with the way that the tines on the truck open up to give you those gaps for your front loader to actually just drop the log in, you'll see that 6 meters and 6 meters is pretty much a perfect sort of length for this for this trailer, like so. We are actually having that weight at the front is actually causing us some slight issues, so we're going to remove that weight just by selling it. It's the quickest and easiest way to just get rid of it. And this will allow us to get a little bit closer to the logging trailer. So let's just see if we can scroll through. Oh, so much equipment. Didn't realise we had quite all of this. But there we go, let's sell that. There we go, so we should now be able to get just a little bit closer, because we don't have that weight at the front pushing against the side of the trailer. There we go. So I'm going to carry on building up my layers, and I shall come back to you in just a moment. So here we have one of those thin spindly logs I was telling you about. It's going to move that to the side. We'll deal with those later. Let's grab this one. Might back the truck up a little bit, get us a little bit closer, so it's less back and forth with the Massey. But the pilot is coming on quite nicely, as you can see. We are getting there. I do try and keep the logs as straight as I can in the trailer. Let them fall in those sort of gaps between other logs. Just makes things easier as you progress. And let's see, because these ones are a little bit thinner, let's see if I can do 2 here. Now they will fight each other a little bit. If I'm careful, I might be able to get these 2. You can see they're wobbling against each other. Yeah, they're fighting in the fork. I kind of figured that might happen. But we have another log right next to us now, so we won't have a long trip to pick that one up. Nice and square with the trailer. You need to be careful as well if you're doing a double stack load like I am. And sometimes the other logs will stick to the claw. That's just kind of built in with the log physics. I think it's nothing to do with the claw itself, because I've had that issue with the in-game single prong claw as well. Sometimes the logs will just stick. But when you are building a double stack like this, you need to be careful that you're not hanging the top logs too far over the top and reducing the space that you have available for the ones that are going to go behind it. So again, I'm going to carry on working away on the log pile, and I'll come back to you as we get closer towards filling it. Just going to move the trailer back a little bit to give us a little bit more space to work with, so making sure that I strap the logs down first. Last thing I want is for these to shift as I'm reversing and then hit the brakes. What I'm going to do is, given the way those piles are shaped, I'm actually going to use this side chute here as a loading area, like so. We can actually probably do we're getting a little bit further across. Let's move this out of the way. There we go. Give myself a little bit more room to turn with those logs in the claw. Get a little bit tighter to the tree line, like so. There we go. That should do it nicely. So let's engine off, unstrap the logs. Job done. Making some pretty decent progress here. Got the first stack is almost fully loading. It's now at the point where height-wise it's becoming a bit of an issue for our logging claw. So what we're going to look at doing is getting the larger pieces into the second stack, and then the thinner pieces I'm going to see if I can pick those up by hand, and if I can, I'm going to try and throw those onto the top. Let's just add a little bit more to the base layer. That log at the back there, that just rolled slightly as we pick this one up, that one might be thin enough for us to potentially pick up. So let's put this one in and then we'll give that a try. There we go. So let's park that just there for a second. Now, can we actually pick any of these up, or are they too heavy? That was too heavy. Yeah, too heavy. I figured that might be the case, but that's another reason why I'm saving these pieces to the side as well. I mean, they're going to be worth hardly anything at all, but we can use them to just fill up our trailer slightly. So we'll just have to be a little bit more careful. And this is where a different logging claw might be useful. So we may end up buying back that CSZ logging claw. Let's see, can I control these two? See, when you do move them like this, they're usually pretty stable until you start to move the claw. And that's when they start to fight each other. What I find is also quite a useful thing to do is to perhaps try and scoop a couple of logs, and this is where it gets a bit tricky as well, because you can potentially unsettle your entire load by doing this, but try and scoop a log across. We don't have quite enough height yet. We can go one layer higher, I think. So let's give that a go. Oh, these ones are a little bit thick. Ah, the one's over there. They're looking pretty good. Let's try these ones. My only concern is that they are quite close to that other log pile. They may get snagged on the way up. Oh, no, we made it. So let's see if we can get these dropped in place as well. There we go. Give that one a little nudge forward. Excellent. So we've got space for another 2, maybe 3 logs on that first pile. They're all starting to look quite thick again. Let's see if we can grab something a little bit more, a little bit easier to maneuver with. I'm taking a risk with these two. See that the claw is wedged open, so I might lose one or both of these logs here, but we'll give it a try. Oh, yeah, see, starting to fight each other. We can be quick, we can get away with it. And that claw nice and open. Try and drive out without causing a problem. There we go, beautiful. So let's strap down that first pile. That is now done. And now we can finish building the second pile. We are just about done with this trailer. Just got a couple of logs left to put on, and then it's pretty much at capacity, or at least stable capacity. We could really push it and overload it, but it's just not worth the risk of just taking a corner just that fraction too fast, and all of a sudden you're sideways. So yeah, we got space for another 2 or 3 logs, and then we're at a comfortable limit then, I think. Like I said, we could potentially squeeze an extra couple on top of that as well, but there's no sense in overdoing it. And this one's quite a big piece as well, so this one's going to be a big eater of space. And we are at that point where, you know, height is becoming an issue with our claw itself. We don't want to get too high, or else we lose control of where we can place the log, as you can see. It starts to get a little bit messy. There we go. Let's just take another look. You know what? I think that'll do. That's pretty much close enough. So let's strap the last of these logs down. We've got enough to go and sell now. So actually, let's just move this out of the way a little bit. There we go. Let's get in our truck and let's go take these to the lumber mill. Want to keep it nice and controlled through here, because this will wobble like crazy around the corners. It will just pitch over if we're not careful at all. It's always better to be a little bit more patient than it is, you know, desperate to get there quickly. Because you're just asking for trouble. You're just asking for your your trailer to tip over if you overcook it. So I mean, if you've got a long straight like this, there's nothing wrong with putting a bit, you know, foot down a bit, but make sure that you slow down properly before you get to the turns. You can see just a little twitch on the steering there, just how much the trailer wobbled. Get nice and easy through there. And let's see if our logs will sell automatically or whether or not we'll have some height issues. Because sometimes the trailers are a little bit too high. It depends on how the map has been coded as to the height of the tip box. Sometimes you can just drive in and the logs will sell automatically, other times they won't. So we have a couple of options here. We could tip these in the mill pond, and honestly I have no idea whether that pays more or less than direct selling. Or we could unload these, you know, by trying to do a reverse backup kind of thing, which is what we're going to do this time. So slam the brakes on. These logs weigh so much, I don't think that's going to work. Obviously, with Black Sheep's logging trailer on the way, yeah, this isn't working. With Black Sheep's logging trailer on the way, then we'll be able to just tip out on the side. But the other option we have, and this is the one I'm going to do, it's a little bit cheaty, but I'm going to do it this time, is to simply reset the logging trailer. And I'm only doing this just so I can show you what it looks like when it happens. So what will happen is the trailer itself will reset back to the reset point. And all those logs will immediately drop straight into the ground, straight into the sell box. And boom, we sell them all. And so each of those logs, you can see the kind of average of those is around about 1100. If you take the smaller ones that are in there, you'll see lots of different prices will pop up as it cycles through. We obviously sold a huge amount of logs there. Got a couple that are really small that are, you know, around 600. Some are around 980, 970, something like that. Others are around 1200. So I think a good average price, we're probably talking $1,000 plus per log as an average price. So that's quite a decent little haul. You know, we haven't done a huge amount of work, and we've made a decent amount of money. So let's go retrieve our logging trailer. There we go. And now it's time to do it all over again. So, just a quick episode here this week, just to show you some logging. I'm going to carry for camera, we'll clear a bit more of that forest out, and then when we come back in the next episode, hopefully our crops will be fully grown and ready to harvest. We can make a start on those. I may even do a little bit of overnight contract work as well, and get us that little bit closer towards selling, buying field 1. And we have all that silage still to shovel as well. So I'll be keeping an eye on the price for silage, and when that gets to a really nice price, we'll start to do a big silage sell as well. So plenty of money that we can still earn, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So thanks for watching. I am Jim Bob, and I will catch you back on the farm very soon.